Hey everyone, welcome back to Stoic Talks. Have you ever wondered what happens when you finally stop looking for someone and how that simple act can shift the entire dynamic of your relationship? You're in the right place, because today we're diving into the powerful Stoic strategy of stepping back to let them realize what they've lost. This isn't about playing games, it's about embracing your own worth and letting that speak louder than words. As our wise friend once said, absence makes the heart grow fond. This means that sometimes it's in stepping back that our presence becomes truly valued. So folks, today, we are not just talking about stepping back. We're talking about reclaiming your power with an intensity that leaves an unforgettable mark. Imagine the strength it takes to withdraw your attention and focus solely on your own growth, to rise above the noise and let your silence speak volumes. This isn't just about making them feel your absence. It's about transforming yourself into someone so resilient, so self-assured, that they can't help but feel the void you've left behind. Each principle we dive into today is a stepping stone toward becoming someone who commands respect and admiration, someone who is deeply missed, not because they disappeared, but because they've become more powerful in their absence. This is your moment to rise, to show them and yourself that your worth is beyond measure. But before we dive in, I've got a challenge that will set the tone for what's about to unfold. If you're ready to step into your power and let your silence echo louder than any words, drop a comment below with the phrase, "My absence will speak for me." This isn't just a statement, it's a declaration of your strength, your resolve, and your commitment to becoming unforgettable. It's time to show the world and yourself that you're not just stepping back, you're stepping up in a way that will make them feel your absence like never before. Let's see how many of you are ready to embrace this powerful shift and make your presence undeniable even when you're not there. Ready, Stoic friends? Let's go. Thought experiment. So friends, before we dive into these 10 points, let's start with a thought experiment that will lay the foundation for what's to come. It is very important, so don't skip. Imagine you are the sun in someone's life. You provide the warmth that brightens their day and the energy that fuels their happiness. Now picture what happens when that sun suddenly disappears. The world becomes colder, a little dimmer. The once taken for granted warmth is now a distant memory, and the absence is felt more deeply with each passing day. What do you think happens next? Do they simply move on, or do they start to realize the value of what they've lost? Now, consider someone in your life who used to be a significant part of your daily routine, perhaps a friend, a partner, or a colleague. Think about how often you used to interact with them, the little messages, the quick phone calls, the casual encounters. Now imagine that all of a sudden, those interactions stop, not because of a disagreement, but because you decided to step back and focus on yourself. How do you think they would feel? What would go through their mind as the days pass and the usual conversations don't happen? Would they miss you? Would they start to wonder where you've gone, why you've gone quiet? Now, you might be wondering, if someone walks away and becomes absent, isn't there a chance that they will forget about me entirely? Won't my absence just push them further away? This is a common concern, but it's important to understand that this strategy isn't about disappearing completely. It's not about vanishing from their life to the point where they move on without a second thought. Instead, it's about creating a subtle yet powerful shift in the dynamics of your relationship. By stepping back, you're not removing yourself entirely. You're creating space for them to reflect, to realize, and to feel the impact of your absence. This isn't about being absent forever. It's about making your presence felt more strongly by stepping away just enough to allow them to understand what life is like without you in it. Think of it like a beautiful painting. Sometimes, stepping back allows you to see the full picture and appreciate its true value. This is the core of our discussion today. We're not talking about playing hard to get. We're talking about the transformative power of creating space. When you stop looking for someone, when you pull back your attention, something profound happens. The dynamics shift. The way they perceive you begins to change. And in that shift, they begin to feel the weight of your absence, perhaps more intensely than you could have ever imagined. Think about the last time you lost something valuable, maybe a favorite piece of jewelry or a cherished memento. Remember the pang of loss, the regret of not appreciating it more when it was in your possession. This is the same feeling that begins to creep into the minds of those who took your presence for granted. The difference is, unlike that lost item, you have the power to choose when or if you re-enter their lives. So before we jump into the 10 points that will break down exactly what they feel when you stop looking for them, take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Think about the times when someone's absence made you realize their true value. What emotions did you go through? What thoughts lingered in your mind? Hold on to those feelings, because they're the key to understanding what happens on the other side when you decide to take a step back. Now let's unravel the 10 powerful emotions and realizations they experience when you stop looking for them. Number 1, the shock of silence. So folks, let's dive into the first thing that might hit them when you suddenly become absent, the shock of silence. Imagine this scenario. You've always been there, the reliable one, the person who texts first, who makes the plans, who checks in just to see how their day is going. But one day, you decide to step back. You don't send that morning text. You don't initiate plans. And suddenly, there's a noticeable silence. It's like walking into a room where the music has just stopped. There's an immediate sense that something's missing. This silence, though, isn't just about the absence of your messages or your presence. It's a deeper kind of shock that happens when someone realizes that the rhythm of their day, the comfort of knowing you're there, has suddenly changed. They might not have consciously acknowledged it before, but your presence was a constant, like background music that they had come to rely on, even if they didn't fully appreciate it. Now here's where the shock really sets in. They begin to wonder, what happened? Why aren't they reaching out? Did I do something wrong? This sudden shift catches them off guard, and it's this disruption of the norm that starts to make them question things. The silence becomes loud, almost deafening, and in that quiet space, they begin to feel the impact of your absence. It's important to remember what Rumi once said, "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." In this case, the quieter you become, the more they start to hear the echo of your absence in their life. They might have taken your presence for granted, assuming you'd always be there. But now that you've stepped back, they're forced to confront what life is like without you in it. Now, you might be thinking, but what if they don't care? What if my presence wasn't that significant to them in the first place? This is a valid concern, and it's a question that many of us fear. But here's the thing. If they really don't care, if your absence doesn't cause even a ripple, then that tells you something important. It tells you that maybe, just maybe, this relationship wasn't as meaningful as you thought. And while that can be tough to face, it's also a form of clarity that's invaluable. Imagine you're at a concert and one of the instruments suddenly stops playing. If the music continues without any noticeable difference, it means that instrument wasn't integral to the performance. But if the absence leaves a noticeable gap, if the music feels incomplete without it, then you know just how important that instrument was. The same goes for relationships. If your absence doesn't make a difference, then perhaps you weren't playing the role you thought you were. And that's okay, because it allows you to move forward with a clearer understanding of where you truly stand. However, in most cases, the shock of silence does make a difference. It shakes things up, forces them to confront their feelings, and often leads to a deeper appreciation of the role you played in their life. They start to realize that your presence was more than just a convenience. It was a source of comfort, stability, and connection. And as they sit with that realization, you'll find that your absence will start speaking for you, echoing in their thoughts and making them understand just how much they miss having you around. This shock of silence can be a powerful wake-up call for them, and it's the first step in shifting the dynamics of your relationship. It's a moment where they're forced to take stock, to reflect on what they had, and to realize that maybe, just maybe, they took you for granted. And in that realization, the seeds of longing and appreciation begin to grow. Number 2, realization of your value. So let's move on to the second thing they might experience when you become absent: the realization of your value. Imagine this. After the initial shock of your silence sets in, they begin to adjust to the new normal. But as the days go by, something starts to gnaw at them, a subtle yet persistent feeling that something important is missing. It's not just about the absence of your texts or your calls. It's about the absence of you, your energy, your support, your unique way of making their day a little bit brighter. This is where the realization of your value starts to kick in. You see, in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, it's easy to take people for granted, especially those who are always there, always giving. But when you suddenly step back, when you're no longer pouring your energy into the relationship, they begin to notice the void you've left behind. It's like removing a key piece from a puzzle. Suddenly, the picture doesn't look complete anymore. They start to realize just how much you were contributing, not just in big obvious ways, but in the little everyday things that made their life richer. As the days pass, they might find themselves missing the way you listened to them, the advice you offered, the laughter you shared. They begin to see that your presence wasn't just a background noise in their life. It was a melody that added depth and meaning to their days. And now that melody is gone, leaving behind a stark, uncomfortable silence, this realization often leads to a deeper reflection on their part. They start to ask themselves questions. Why did I take them for granted? What was it about them that made my life better? And as they reflect, they begin to see your true value, perhaps for the first time. They start to understand that you weren't just filling space in their life. You were adding something meaningful, something they can't easily replace. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're at a restaurant and you've ordered your favorite dish. You've had it so many times that you don't even think about how good it is anymore. It's just your go-to meal. But one day, you decide to try something new, and it's just not the same. Suddenly, you realize just how much you love that favorite dish, how much it satisfied you, how it hit the spot in a way nothing else could. That's what happens when you step back. They realize that nothing else quite compares to what you brought into their life. This realization of your value isn't just a fleeting thought. It's something that can profoundly change how they see you and the relationship. They start to recognize that you were a steady source of positivity, of support, of joy. And now that you're not there, they see the impact of your absence everywhere. It's in the small moments of their day, when they would have reached out to you, in the challenges they face without your comforting words, in the laughs they miss sharing with you. As Albert Einstein once said, "Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value." In stepping back, you're giving them the space to recognize your true value. You're showing them that your presence was a gift, not something to be taken lightly. And in doing so, you're allowing them to see what they had and what they've lost. So as they sit with this realization, you'll find that your absence will start speaking for you. It will speak of your worth, your impact, and the irreplaceable role you played in their life. And that realization can be powerful enough to make them want you back, to reach out and to reconnect, this time with a deeper appreciation for everything you bring to the table. Number, the void of your presence. Now let's delve into the third experience they're likely to face when you become absent, the void of your presence. After the shock of silence and the realization of your value, comes the unsettling awareness of the void you've left behind. This isn't just about missing your texts or your phone calls. It's about the deep emptiness that your absence creates in their life. Suddenly, all those little things you did, the thoughtful gestures, the way you listened, the comfort of knowing you were always there, are glaringly absent. And that absence feels like a huge gap. Imagine this. They go through their daily routine, but now something is off. The usual text they receive from you in the morning doesn't come. The inside jokes you used to share feel hollow when there's no one to laugh with, and the comfort of knowing you're there to talk things through is gone. It's as if the emotional safety net they didn't even realize they had has been pulled away, leaving them to navigate their days without the support they had grown accustomed to. This void is profound because it's not just about the things you did, but about who you are. Your presence brought a certain warmth, a sense of connection that they can't easily replace. And now, in your absence, they feel that emptiness more keenly than they might have expected. It's like walking into a room that used to be filled with light and warmth, only to find it cold and dark. That emptiness is your void, and it's something they can't ignore. As they navigate this new reality, they might find themselves trying to fill that void, perhaps by reaching out to others or distracting themselves with other activities. But deep down, they know that nothing quite fits the space you occupied. Your presence was unique, and now that it's gone, there's a noticeable gap in their life. This void isn't just a reminder of what they had. It's a constant nudge that they've lost something important, something that made their life better. As the French philosopher Voltaire once said, "The art of being happy lies in the power of extracting happiness from common things." Your presence added value to those common things, and now, without you, those things don't bring the same joy. So as they sit with the void of your presence, you'll find that your absence will start speaking for you. It will remind them daily of what's missing, of the light and warmth that's no longer there. And in that void, they might just realize that what's missing isn't just anyone, it's you. So folks, that was the third thing they might feel, the void of your presence. Before we move on to the fourth, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What questions are running through your mind right now? Throw them out in the comments. I'm here to help you navigate through this journey, and if everything's clear so far, hit that thumbs up, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get ready to unravel the next thing they might feel, which is even more impactful, so you definitely don't want to miss it. Stick around because we're just getting to the heart of how your absence can make a profound difference in their life. The rise of curiosity. So let's dive into the fourth thing they might feel when you become absent. The rise of curiosity. After the initial shock of silence, the realization of your value, and the uncomfortable void of your presence, something intriguing begins to happen. They start to get curious. This curiosity isn't just about where you've gone or why you're not reaching out. It's a deeper, more compelling need to understand what's going on in your world now that you're no longer a constant presence in theirs. Imagine this. They're scrolling through their phone, and suddenly they notice they haven't heard from you in days, maybe even weeks. Questions start to bubble up in their mind. What are they up to? Are they okay? Are they moving on without me? This curiosity can quickly turn into a fascination as they begin to wonder about all the things they don't know. They might even start checking your social media, trying to get a glimpse of what's happening in your life, piecing together clues to satisfy that growing curiosity. This rise of curiosity is powerful because it's a sign that they're beginning to see you in a new light. When you were always available, always there, they didn't need to wonder about you. They knew exactly where you were and what you were doing. But now that you've stepped back, there's a mystery around you, a sense of intrigue that pulls them in, making them want to know more. It's like reading a book and suddenly realizing you don't know what's going to happen next. That uncertainty, that unknown, becomes irresistible. As the philosopher Aristotle once said, "The more you know, the more you realize you don't know." This quote perfectly captures the rise of curiosity. They start to realize how much they took for granted, how much they didn't really know about you. And now, with your absence, they're eager to fill in those gaps, to understand what's happening beneath the surface. Curiosity can be a powerful motivator. It can drive them to reach out, to try and reconnect, to rediscover who you are and what you're up to. And in this process, they begin to see you not just as the person they once knew, but as someone who is constantly evolving, growing, and becoming more intriguing with each passing day. So, as this curiosity rises within them, you'll find that your absence will start speaking for you in ways that draw them closer. Even though you've stepped back, it's a subtle but powerful shift where the mystery of your absence becomes a magnet, pulling them in as they seek to understand the person you're becoming, someone who is more than they ever realized. The growth of longing. Now let's explore the fifth thing they might feel when you become absent, the growth of longing. After curiosity begins to take hold, something even deeper starts to develop, a sense of longing. This isn't just a fleeting desire to hear from you or see you again. It's a growing, persistent feeling that builds over time. The more they wonder about you, the more they start to miss you, not just your presence, but everything that made your relationship special. Imagine this. They're going about their day, but every little thing reminds them of you. A song that used to play in the background when you were together, a place you both used to visit, or even just a random phrase that triggers a memory of something you said. These small reminders accumulate, creating a sense of yearning that's hard to ignore. It's not just about the big moments. It's the little things, the everyday interactions that they start to miss the most. Longing is powerful because it grows in the spaces where connection used to be. As the days go by without hearing from you, without feeling your presence, that longing intensifies. It's like trying to quench a thirst that just won't go away. They begin to realize that they don't just miss having someone around. They miss you specifically, in a way that's deep and personal. As the French writer Marcel Proust once said, "The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes." This longing gives them a new perspective on what you meant to them. They start to see the relationship in a different light, appreciating all the things they may have overlooked before. So as this longing grows within them, your absence will start speaking for you in the form of an undeniable pull, one that makes them crave the connection they once had with you, realizing just how much they truly miss it. The sting of regret. Now let's delve into the sixth thing they might feel when you become absent, the sting of regret. As the curiosity deepens and the longing for you grows stronger, another powerful emotion begins to take root: regret. This isn't just a passing thought or a mild sense of what if. It's a sharp, painful realization that they may have taken you for granted, that they didn't fully appreciate you when they had the chance. And that realization can sting. Imagine this. They're sitting alone, reflecting on the times you spent together. Suddenly, it hits them. Those moments when you reached out, offered support, or made sacrifices that they didn't fully recognize at the time. Maybe they brushed off your concern, ignored your efforts, or simply assumed you'd always be there no matter what. But now, in your absence, they see those moments with fresh eyes, and the weight of their actions, or inactions, begins to press down on them. Regret. Regret often comes with a series of if-only thoughts. If only they had been more attentive. If only they had reciprocated your efforts. If only they had valued you as much as you deserved. These thoughts can be painful because they're tied to missed opportunities, chances to show you how much you meant to them, to build a stronger connection, or to fix issues before they became too big to ignore. This sting of regret isn't just about feeling sorry. It's about realizing that they let something valuable slip through their fingers. They start to wonder how things might have been different if they had acted differently, if they had put in the effort to nurture the relationship instead of taking it for granted. It's a sobering realization, and it often leaves them with a sense of loss that's hard to shake. Regret, as the philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once noted, is a sharp-edged sword, not always useful, but always felt. This emotion cuts deep because it's tied to the irreversible nature of the past. They can't go back and change what's been done, and that can lead to a feeling of helplessness and sorrow. However, regret can also be a catalyst for change. It can prompt them to reevaluate their priorities, to recognize the importance of what they've lost, and to strive to make amends if possible. The sting of regret is often what pushes them to reach out to apologize or to try and rekindle what's been lost. So as this regret takes hold, your absence will start speaking for you in a voice that says, "You should have valued me when you had the chance." It's a powerful realization that can motivate them to reflect deeply on their actions and perhaps seek to make things right before it's too late. The intrigue of mystery. Let's move on to the seventh thing they might feel when you become absent: the intrigue of mystery. As your absence lingers, something interesting begins to happen. They start to see you through a new lens, one shrouded in mystery. When you were always available, they knew what to expect from you. But now that you've stepped back, you've become a bit of an enigma. And this mystery is incredibly intriguing. Imagine this. They realize they don't know what you're up to anymore. You're no longer sharing your daily thoughts, your plans, or your feelings. Suddenly, you're not as predictable as you once were, and this unpredictability sparks their curiosity even further. They start to wonder, what are you doing? Who are you spending time with? What new things are you exploring without them? This intrigue of mystery is powerful because it flips the dynamic. Instead of you being the one constantly reaching out and sharing, you've become someone they want to figure out, someone whose life they're no longer privy to. It's like when a favorite character in a story suddenly becomes more complex and multi-layered. Your absence adds depth to how they perceive you, making them want to know more. As the novelist and poet Oscar Wilde said, "The truth is rarely pure and never simple." This idea captures the essence of mystery. You've become more than just the person they thought they knew. You're now someone with layers, someone with a life that continues to evolve even without them. So as this sense of mystery grows, your absence will start speaking for you in subtle but powerful ways. It will make them wonder about the new dimensions of your life, drawing them in with the intrigue of discovering who you've become in their absence. The power of reflection. Let's dive into the 8th thing they might feel when you become absent. The power of reflection. After experiencing the shock of silence, the growing curiosity, and the sting of regret, they inevitably arrive at a place of deep reflection. This isn't just a quick passing thought. It's a period where they begin to really think about the relationship, about you, and about themselves. Your absence gives them the space to reflect on everything that has happened, what worked, what didn't, and most importantly, what they may have overlooked. Imagine this. They find themselves alone with their thoughts, replaying memories of your time together. They think about the conversations you had, the support you offered, and the moments when they might not have given you the attention or appreciation you deserved. This reflection often brings clarity. They start to see the relationship not just for what it was, but for what it could have been if they had invested more effort, more care, or more understanding. Reflection is a powerful tool because it allows them to see things from a different perspective. They begin to recognize their own shortcomings, times when they were too focused on themselves, too caught up in their own world to see how much you were contributing to theirs. It's during this period that they might realize that they didn't just miss out on your presence, they missed out on the opportunity to build something even stronger with you. This reflection can also bring about a sense of self-awareness. They start to see patterns in their behavior, perhaps recognizing that they've made similar mistakes in past relationships. It's a moment of personal growth where they begin to understand that your absence is more than just a temporary gap. It's a chance for them to learn and potentially to change. As the philosopher Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." This period of reflection pushes them to examine not only their choices, but also how those choices have impacted their relationships. It's a time of introspection that can lead to a deeper understanding of themselves and of you. So as they immerse themselves in this reflective state, your absence will start speaking for you in ways that provoke thought, foster growth, and encourage them to truly appreciate the value of what they had. It's through reflection that they might come to realize that their life was richer with you in it, and that the lessons learned from your absence could lead to meaningful changes should they have the chance to reconnect with you. The magnetism of self-sufficiency. Let's dive into the 10th thing they might feel when you become absent, the magnetism of self-sufficiency. As they navigate the void left by your absence, something intriguing happens. They begin to see you in a new light. You're no longer the person who was always available, always giving, always there at the drop of a hat. Instead, you've become someone who is independent, self-sufficient, and strong on your own. And let me tell you, this newfound self-sufficiency is incredibly magnetic. Imagine this. They see that you're not falling apart without them. In fact, you're thriving. You're pursuing your passions. engaging in activities that make you happy, and generally living your best life. This realization can be a game changer for them. Suddenly, you're not just the person they used to know. You're someone who has grown, evolved, and become even more compelling in their absence. There's something inherently attractive about a person who doesn't need validation from others to feel complete. When they see you embracing your self-sufficiency, it challenges their previous perceptions of you. They might have thought that you depended on them for your happiness, but now they see that you're perfectly capable of creating your own joy, regardless of whether they're in the picture or not. This self-sufficiency can stir a mix of emotions in them. On one hand, they might feel a pang of regret for not appreciating your strength earlier. On the other hand, they might find themselves drawn to you even more, fascinated by your ability to stand tall on your own. It's as if you've become a beacon of independence, radiating confidence and self-assuredness, and that's something they can't ignore. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Self-reliance is the height of man." Your self-sufficiency isn't just about being independent. It's about embodying a level of maturity and inner strength that is undeniably attractive. They start to see that you're not just surviving without them, you're thriving, and that makes them realize just how much they underestimated your resilience and capability. This magnetism of self-sufficiency can lead them to question their own sense of self. They may start to reflect on whether they've been too reliant on others for their own happiness, and whether they could learn a thing or two from your approach to life. Your ability to flourish independently becomes a silent reminder that true strength comes from within, and that's something they may now admire in you more than ever before. So as they witness your self-sufficiency, your absence will start speaking for you in a way that showcases your strength, resilience, and independence. It will make them realize that you're not just someone who can stand on your own, you're someone who can shine on your own. And that kind of self-reliance is not just admirable, it's magnetic. The desire for reconnection. After going through the shock of silence, the realization of your value, the void of your presence, and the magnetism of your newfound self-sufficiency, they're likely to find themselves at a crossroads. All of these emotions, curiosity, longing, regret, reflection, build up to a powerful desire to reconnect with you. Imagine this. They've spent days, weeks, maybe even months reflecting on what they had with you and what they've lost. The more they think about it, the clearer it becomes that your absence has created a void that nothing else seems to fill. The people they've met, the distractions they've tried to immerse themselves in, none of it compares to the connection they had with you. This realization leads to an intense desire to bridge the gap, to reach out, and to bring you back into their life. This desire for reconnection isn't just about missing the good times. It's about recognizing that the relationship with you was unique, something they can't easily replicate with someone else. They begin to understand that their life was better with you in it, that the connection they shared with you brought them a sense of completeness, joy, and fulfillment that they now yearn to experience again. But here's the kicker. This desire for reconnection is fueled by the person you've become in their absence. They're not just drawn back to the person they knew. They're intrigued by the stronger, more self-assured version of you that has emerged. Your independence, your resilience, and your ability to thrive on your own have made you even more appealing. They now see you as someone who isn't just desirable because of the past you shared, but because of the growth and transformation you've undergone since then. As they sit with this desire, they might start to imagine what it would be like to reconnect, to rebuild the relationship on new, stronger foundations. They might picture the conversations you could have now, the shared experiences that would be richer with the wisdom you've both gained. This desire for reconnection becomes a powerful motivator, pushing them to reach out, to apologize, or to express what they've learned and how they've changed. As American author F. Scott Fitzgerald once wrote, "There are all kinds of love in this world, but never the same love twice." They realized that what they had with you was special, and the possibility of rekindling that connection, of creating something new and even better, becomes an irresistible pull. So as this desire for reconnection grows, your absence will start speaking for you in the form of a compelling urge to rebuild what was lost. They'll find themselves drawn to you not just because of who you were, but because of who you've become. And in that desire, they'll see that reconnecting with you might be the only way to fill the void that your absence has left behind. Thanks for tuning in. If you found value in this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who could benefit from these insights. And hey, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below with, "My absence will speak for me," and let's keep the conversation going. Your engagement helps us grow and continue bringing you powerful content. See you in the next video.